Okay, it says we are live.
Yeah, I can see that. Live
Okay.
for 8 seconds now.
Yeah. So I don't know if anyone is in the house. Anyone in the house?
People will come and ask all your questions. Don't be sending DMs after now. After now, don't come and be sending DMs. This is come and ask all the questions that you have because the DMs is it.
So this time they'll have to pay to send you a DM.
Well, it's somebody else that'll be answering them, not me. Most times.
Oh.
Yeah, in most cases. Yeah.
They should hear this one. I'm sure they don't know because they'll be thinking it's only that is answering the DM. Hello guys, can you hear us?
Sometimes you just have to touch it twice and then you see all the comments there. Like a lot of people keep waiting. For me, that's what I was at. You touch it twice and then you just see lots of comments like, so these people were there all this while and we're saying hello, hello, hello.
I can see people there, but I just want to be sure they can hear us. I can see like about 10 people or so.
Okay.
And yeah. Okay, sure. Okay, no.
Yeah.
Okay. Can someone say hello? I just want to be sure they are hearing us so that we're not wasting our time. Okay, I can see a lot of comments right now.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you so much.
And then they just come up like that.
Yeah, so they can hear us. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. I don't know where you're tuning in from, but it's morning here and it's morning where Wolu is. So I'll allow her to introduce herself. I'm sure all of you know her anyways, but just for formality's sake. Wolu,
let me introduce myself. My name is Wolo. Well, everybody knows me. The short form of a very long name. They've always had a hard time calling my full name from childhood. So it was shortened to Wolo. And I am a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. I live in the coldest part of Canada, which is Winterpeg. I love to call it Winterpeg, Canada. Manitoba, Canada. So, yeah, it's so good to be on this live with Mrs. O, our super mommy. Yes.
We are learning from people like you.
I got my heart for you. You know, I had plans of coming to do PhD. And my mentor, he was just like, don't waste your time.
I feel like you're going to do it because you love to research a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the only thing you need, it's just someone that loves to find out about things and all that.
Yeah, but it was, when he said it, I was just like, I will do that. He said, when you get there, you will see why I say you just change your mind. And then when I came, I would like to you. The spirit just went down like that, and I'm like, maybe I'll think about it in the future. For now, but I really got my heart for you. I don't know how you're managing everything, like reading.
A day at a time.
I don't know how you're doing it. I know. Sometimes I just tell myself, who sent me message now? And then people like you who doing PhD, social media, side hustle, everything together. I'm like, it with family. Oh, me, I'm still like scattering my. It's not easy. It's not easy though.
It's not
at all. You guys, I don't know. God gave you people extra strength.
Thank you so much, Ola. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much for coming on this show. And we'll just dive into the topic for today. So we are looking at the common mistakes that people make with express entry. In fact, the questions some people even ask me, I will not be asking myself, I thought I knew this thing, no. It's like I don't know the thing again. Like people even confuse you with the information they have. So I like to tell people, if you're confused, it's either you go to IRCC's website or you go and consult a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. There are a lot of information out there. And that's why I insisted on inviting you that I know it's a regulated Canadian immigration consultant too. So they can hear from you, right? So I'm sure you have a lot of experience with these things and you can easily highlight, the mistakes that a lot of people make. I know people make mistakes starting from their NOC codes, reference letter. In fact, some people will get invitation and then they get rejected because of
Yeah. So you've already mentioned it. The major one is actually the NOC code. The major one is the NOC code. A lot of people choose NOC code based on their current work experience, and you see somebody who has a score of let's say 460 460, 465 in the pool, and their knock code is something that has never been in demand, or it's not in demand in any province. And with Canada, the immigration law says if you have had any work experience for 1 year within the last 10 years, right? So it has to be within the last 10 years. So some people must have had different experiences over the last 10 years. And instead of them picking the one that they know is in demand, maybe in any province like Saskatchewan or Ontario, they'll pick their current occupation without realizing that that occupation might not even get them a notification of interest if they are aiming for a provincial nomination. Or if they're aiming for a provincial nomination, they might be choosing, let's say, a knock that is on a managerial level, whereas a lower knock or another knock can give them that nomination, So you have to assess yourself based on the 10 years work experience you've had. And if one of them stands out, if one of them is what Ontario is giving nomination for, as long as you must have had a 1 year work experience in that knock, you choose that knock as the primary knock rather than using it as a secondary knock instead of using the current occupation. So that's number one there. When I consult with people, I tell them, what in the last 10 years, just juggle your memory. How many experiences have you had? And you must have had it at least for 1 year. So it starts with the knock. And besides that, the reference letter itself and the knock code and the job description itself is a complex thing. And that's where people make mistakes in terms of, I won't blame them because they are relying on their employers to give them the reference letter. And if communicates to their employers to say, okay, this is how I want my reference letter to be, the employer will not be able to do it the way IRCC wants it. The employer will just give them something else. And then it gets to IRCC will look at it and say, oh, this person is not eligible because there are certain information that are missing. And of course, the job description, 80% of the job description needs to match what is on the ESDC NOC job description. If it doesn't match, then IRCC will fling it out and say the person does not meet eligibility, and it goes back to square one again. So sometimes you just have to partner with your employer. So most people are afraid of partnering with their employer because they don't want their employer to know that they want to immigrate to Canada. And that is where they have these issues. So that's another mistake.
That's where the problem comes.
So you just have to look at your employer and see if you can partner with the employer. Some even have problems of, okay, I was working in so place, the place is no longer in existence. And it becomes a struggle to get a reference letter if that company is no longer in existence. So in such cases, I know it's quite complex. It's quite complex trying to fill in the gap of that employment you had. In that situation, you have to prove that the company is no longer in existence. Was the company delisted from the CAC website? Was there a publication? Is there another company that took over the company? If all these information are not there, that means there's a gap. Let's say the person must have worked there for 2 years, 3 years, and then the company folded up, and the person is unable to get a reference letter because the company is no longer in existence. You have to prove all this. You have to check the CAC website if the company was delisted. If it was not delisted, try to get in touch with maybe one of the directors or somebody to at least write a letter of reference. And at least there should be a publication. And the way things are in Africa, companies go down, they don't even publish that the company is no longer existent. It just goes down just like that. And then a part of your life just is lost, and you cannot account for that. You have to account for it. If you cannot account for it, it's like misrepresentation because you don't even know where your information is. And in most cases, the IRCC officers do what you call background search. When they are doing background search, they put your name, and wherever your name is pulled up, they see certain information. So this is what I tell people. If you're applying and if you're applied for to immigrate to Canada, you have to do a Google search of your name. Do a Google search of your name and see what your name is coming up as. If your name is coming up as an employee in so, and you know very well that you will not be able to get a reference letter from that so, you need to sort that out. Because if your name pops up as an employee of ABC company and you don't have any document to show, and IRCC does a background search of your name and it pops up, they will see that you didn't mention that part of your life. They'll call it misrepresentation. And you didn't know about it. So that's one mistake people make. They didn't know about it. And some of them they have a LinkedIn profile. On their LinkedIn profile, they are showing business analyst, and then they are applying as human resources. And in the history you've put, there is no indication or nothing, no mention of business analysis. So that's another mistake a lot of potential immigrants make as well. So do a background search of your name, not just Google, Yahoo, all the search engines, Bing search, all of them. Pull your name, try to pull your name out and see what information your name is pulling out. And then if there's something that is wrong, try to correct it. I'll give an example. There was a lady who reached out to me, not knowing that, her account was, or she requested for her GCMS notes just to see the progress of her application. And then in the GCMS note, that was when she realized that there was something that the IRCC officers had flagged. And the flagging, I think she was the principal applicant. The husband was an accompanying applicant. The husband had a company registered in his name in the UK with his friend, and he had never been to the UK.
Wow.
And that was not mentioned. So it was flagged. So in that situation now, she was asking what would she do. I said, there's nothing you can do at this point. They will either call the husband and her for interview, or they will reject the application as misrepresentation because she didn't mention that aspect of the husband being a director.
That is a ban.
Yeah. And that's the husband was accompanying. She's the principal applicant, but because the husband's information was not complete in their application, they see it as misrepresentation. So these are the common mistakes a lot of people make when they are applying. And besides knock code, reference letter, job description, and not putting all your information out, as in putting your information in your application, because you have to show what you have been doing in the personal history. If you don't put these things and they flag something and they pick something up, it could lead to misrepresentation, or it could lead to them saying ineligibility. Another thing is people not mentioning that they have been denied visas before. So people assume that, okay, I went to the US embassy, they didn't tell me, they didn't stamp my passport, they didn't reject they just rejected me, they didn't do anything. And they don't mention that part in their application. That is also misrepresentation as well, because you need to mention that you were denied a visa before, no matter which country you apply to. When they do it, they do what they call information sharing. And during the information sharing, they are linked to the database of these 5 countries: UK, Australia, United States, France, and Germany. They're able to pull records from these countries. And if you don't mention that you were denied visas to these countries before and any other country, and they pull the information out, it's misrepresentation and could lead to 5 years ban, or they could just reject your application. So these are the common mistakes people make when it comes to applying. In some cases, another one that I would think I just remembered now is people who are doing online courses from maybe any online university.
Yeah.
And they are filling their profile. They put that, okay, I got this degree from, let's say, London Business School, and they put location as London. By the time they get the invitation to apply, and IRCC is saying provide police clearance from that country, they say, no, but I did it online. I was in Nigeria. I did it online, and I didn't come to the UK to do this course. At that time, they have no choice to either request for a police certificate clearance. Of course, they were never living in the UK, or they reject the application and go back into the pool again. You see, that time is already lost. These tiny, silly mistakes. So so many of them. Some people, their age, there's age disparity.
Yes. In
There's,
fact, I think that's a major problem because I have someone that on her Facebook account, when she was opening, when you open your Facebook account and you don't want to put out your real age and all that. So on her Facebook account, she just put a fake page, just open Facebook. And then I think when she applied, she got rejected because of age. And what she puts like is the actual age. But maybe they did a search, just like you said, and then there's a disparity between this her social media handle and her real age. And that's why she got rejected. So, but she was allowed to reapply and explain whatever the reason was. So I think she got lucky there that she was banned. So, like
yeah,
you said, it's very important for people to search because sometimes you put information on social media that you don't even remember.
exactly.
And
Yeah,
have a
exactly.
point.
Yeah. So,
Somebody's saying, where am I to state that I've been rejected visa?
okay, so there is what you call the Schedule A form. When you're filling the Schedule A form, that question will be asked there online. They'll ask, have you applied? The question is, have you applied to Immigrations and Refugees Canada before? You can say yes or no. Or have you been rejected any visa before? The question is there. You will see the
Yeah.
question. But the question doesn't come up when you're filling your express entry profile. That's the truth. It comes up when you're submitting your documents after being invited. So it is after invitation, that's when you answer that question. It is not when you're submitting your express entry profile. Yeah.
That's an eye opener. I didn't know they shared data with other countries aside from US because a lot of people think it's only US they share data with. And then when they've done any other thing in any other country, they don't bother to tell them. So
They
it's
do.
very important that people search and they are clear. So I have one question to ask, right? So how many knock codes, like maximum knock codes, have you used to apply for express entry? Because I used to think it's just one knock code, but
You just have one primary knock code. But of course, over the years, you must have had different experiences with different knock codes, especially for those who are moving from one organization to another. But if they've not, if they have not had any other experience apart from where they currently work, then it's just one knock code. So your secondary knock codes that you can choose, and then you have your primary knock code. The primary knock code is what gives you an invitation to apply or a notification of interest if you are looking for a provincial nomination. So let's say somebody is trying to get a provincial nomination from Saskatchewan. So it's based on their primary knock code that they are selected and then they are given the nomination. But it has to be dealt with on the provincial nomination level so that when it goes to the federal level, you don't have issues. So if you submit a shoddy document during the provincial nomination level, and the federal level, you are still submitting shoddy documents, those things affect the application as well, because the IRCC guys, they look at your knock code critically. They look at it they look at your job description, they look at your company. So they have the tendency of even downgrading your knock code. Yes, based on your job description. So if your job description does not properly highlight what they want to see, they can tell you that, oh, you're overinflating your knock code.
Wow. So you're saying that everything boils down to the reference letter. Because I tell people, write your own reference letter and give them to just sign. So give them the template because most of these employers, they don't even know what it means.
Exactly. But it's not all employers that are cooperative, Some of these employers need to want to do things on their own. So you just have to like cajole them, talk to somebody, be partner with at least somebody in the internal system to tell them this is how IRCC wants it to. Don't go and be putting this. Another thing is even the title itself. Most of the titles, so people choose knock code based on the title of their work, not based on the job description of their work. So which is quite misleading. It has to be based on the job description, and then you have to look for the particular knock that aligns with that job description, not the title.
Okay.
The job description itself is one because it is 80% of the job description that they look at, and then the lead statement, which is also there should be some part of the lead statement which should be highlighted as well in your knock. Then if they critically do these things very well, they will not be able, they would at least scale through rather than leaving it for the employer to just say, okay,
Yeah.
employee, blah, 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 blah. That's why you have to partner, no matter what. Try as much as possible to partner with the guys that will provide a reference letter, because it can destroy you. Either you get the application rejected, or they can, say it is misrepresentation or something, or they just downgrade your knock. So some people choose knock B, because for you to be eligible for express entry, it has to either be knock 0, A or B. So some people choose a knock B, and then IRCC looks at it and say, no, this person's role was overinflated. The person's role is knock C. If they give you a knock C, it makes you ineligible.
Yeah.
And that's the company as well. So they go and just, okay, let's look at the size of the company. What is this company into? If the company is a small company, they'll say, this person is just claiming a position that he or she does not have, and then downgrade the person's knock to a knock C. And that one makes the person ineligible.
Wow. So everything boils down to the reference, because I remember when people were arguing on the internet about NYSC internship, who can use the experience. I mean, in my mind, I'm like, it's all about your reference letter. If you don't tell them it was internship or NY, they don't even know what NYSC is, like for people from Nigeria. So I think everything still boils down to the quality of the reference letter. Somebody is saying what information to be in a reference letter.
Well, the information that should be in the reference letter, you have to look at the knock code itself and look at the job description of the knock and pick keywords. There are certain keywords that are already in the knock code, which has to be in your reference letter. It's not as if you're copying verbatim for verbatim. In fact, even copying word for word itself is also a problem. Yeah, if you copy word for word, if you copy word from the ESDC knock code job description, it's a problem. So you have to look at the keywords. What are the keywords they are saying concerning the knock? Are they using words like manage? Are they using words like supervise? Are they using words like coordinate? Are they using words like administer? Are they using words like train? You need to look at these keywords. If they are using those keywords and you are not using the keyword, for instance, I'll give a typical example. Somebody said, I managed a team of 10 persons, but in the knock code, they didn't mention manage. So why is manage in your reference letter? So those are the things they have to look out for. They have to look out for keywords. If they don't look out for the keywords and use the keywords in the reference, in the job description on their reference, that means it doesn't align.
Okay, let's talk about when someone is having an accompanying spouse or non-accompanying spouse, because I know a lot of people try to say their spouse will not accompany them just so that they can increase their knock code. So what are the related mistakes with that move?
Okay, so for non-accompanying spouse, just to increase points, there's actually no mistake, except if the person is living in Canada. If the person is a student in Canada and the person is saying the spouse is non-accompanying just to get that invitation, then it becomes a problem. But if the person is not living in Canada, the person can claim that, oh, my spouse has a very good job, or blah, 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 has so much commitment. My spouse is not accompanying me now. And then later I can sponsor my spouse. But then, of course, the person has to prepare for the number of years the person has to wait to sponsor their spouse, because you cannot just land and then want to sponsor your spouse immediately. You have to land, you have to get a job, because when you're sponsoring your spouse, although the income, what do you call it now? There's what you call low income cutoff, and then there's also sponsorship. When you want to sponsor your spouse, you need to sign an agreement that you'll be responsible for your spouse for 3 years, right? So for you to sign that agreement, you have to show that you have a certain amount of income. But it is not compulsory though. It's just that the visa officers, when they are looking at these things, they want to see that you can take care of your spouse. So in terms of putting the spouse as non-accompanied, you have to explain why your spouse is not accompanying you. If it is work related, if it is business related, then it can be accepted.
What if it's just their personal decision?
One thing I know is that most men don't even want to come to Canada. They just
Yeah.
want to see their wives and children to come and enjoy
Yeah.
themselves and immigrate, but they themselves don't want to actually come to Canada. But if it's just for their personal reason, if it's for points' sake, I know people do it because for the sake of points to increase their points. The thing you cannot do is putting your spouse as non-accompanying, and then when you receive an ITA, you want to add your spouse. Because if you do that, they will recalculate your points. And if they recalculate your points and the points becomes lower than what you were invited with, the application will be rejected. But if they recalculate the points and the points are okay or even higher, then it's fine. Because they will always recalculate the points if in the middle of the application you say, oh no, I want my spouse to now accompany me. And if your spouse does not have IELTS or an ECA, so there will always be a recalculation of points.
So how about the proof of fund for unaccompanying spouse or accompanying spouse? Does it change?
No, there is actually no challenge with that in terms of proof of funds for unaccompanying spouse. There is no challenge with that. But the only thing I can say is if the spouse is the unaccompanied spouse is the one that has the money in their accounts, it becomes complex because how do you prove now? You say your spouse is not accompanying you, and then the money, the proof of funds is in that same person's account. You have to explain. So they have to explain in letter of explanation that, okay, my spouse is not accompanying me, but he has promised to make these funds available. Not promise. There should be more like a written agreement to say this funds are made available for my spouse to use when she eventually lands. I'll be disbursing these funds, or I'll be sending these funds. Normally, if husband and wife are coming together, anybody who has the money in their account, they don't look at who, as long as it is coming together. But if one family, if the wife is coming and the husband is not coming, and the money is in the husband's account, then the husband has to write a letter, or the husband push the money into the wife's account just for sake of clarity. There should be no, oh, okay, I'm not coming, and then the money is in my account. The husband just to avoid complications, just push the money to the wife's account. Yes, let her finish her immigration process. Once it is done, she can push the money back to you. Instead of the husband's account, and then at the end of the day, they now start flagging why is the money in this person's account. Although there's supposed to be no issue, but because of that unaccompanying situation, there's actually no regulation concerning that. There's no law or regulation concerning whose account the money should be in terms of the proof of funds. There's none. But so officers use their discretion at this. In some cases, they use their discretion.
So how about, for example, I know people, like if a husband and wife want to come to Canada, their points are good and all that, but because they don't have the proof of fund for a family of two, so they would say, okay, let the other person not accompany me. So they can, does that mean they would provide proof of fund for just one person since the other person is not accompanying?
It's proof of funds for one person.
Oh, okay, because a lot of people have been saying if you have a family of 5, whether they are coming with you or not, you must show proof of fund for a family of 5.
No.
Some of them, like I know a family that she gave birth to the last one in Canada. So she wants to come now. So it's a family of 4, but one is a Canadian. So in this case, is she going to show proof of fund for a family of 4 or for a family of 3?
Family of 4.
Okay, it doesn't matter the citizenship, so long as that person is coming in.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I missed a question with the knock code. So let me go back to it before we move forward. So somebody is saying for self-employed people, how would they submit reference letter? And, under which, how can they even fit into, is there a particular knock code for self-employed people? Like, how does that work?
Self-employed people is still the same thing as if they are managers. It's under knock 0, either directors or managers or something. And for them, what they can provide is a reference. They don't need to provide, how will I put it now? They'll provide reference from their clients.
Oh, okay.
from their clients. But another thing is self-employed. Are they claiming to be the owners of the business, or they are claiming to be an employee of the business? Because if they are claiming to be an employee of the business, then the business can write a reference letter for them. Let's say Mr. A is the owner of ABC company, and Mr. A has human resources personnel working with him, or an operations manager working with him, and he's the chief executive officer, or he's the managing director or something.
Oh,
So the human resources person can write a reference letter to say, okay, this person is employed in the capacity of managing director, and this is his role, blah, 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 blah. And then the human resources person signs. So it cannot be, I am the owner, I'm the one writing reference letter for myself.
yeah.
If the company has a structure, if it has a structure that, okay, there is an admin officer, there is a human resources officer, there is a chief financial officer, there has to be somebody who needs to write the reference, not him being the chief executive and admin and HR and finance and everything at the same time. One person cannot have multiple roles, you know.
Yeah, okay. I understand.
There has to be somebody who would write the reference letter. And then in support of that as well, they can get references from executed businesses. If they must have executed a business or something, a reference letter from such people can also suffice in that regard. But the main reference letter should come from the organization themselves itself. So the organization needs to have a structure, not just one man size company that one person is doing all the jobs. You know,
But in that case where it is, because we know the way Nigeria is and the way most African countries are, you have one person running their businesses. So say I'm the owner of my company and I'm the manager and this and that. So I want to claim the job role for, say I want to take knock that has maybe me as the manager. You can still write the letter as your company saying that you are the manager of that company, whether it's one man owned or a structured company. Do you think that would cause them to reject the application?
well, the person writing that job description himself, then so who will sign? He's not a referee for himself.
Yeah.
It doesn't fly. It can only fly for occupations that are like, let's say, trades, let's say fashion, home, or whatever. But you have to back that up with references from clients.
Okay.
Right? References from clients. But you can't claim to be owner and then you are the one referring yourself. At least there should be that will be able to refer and sign on your behalf, because they need to call someone to verify. So if you're going to sign it for yourself, that means you have to also provide a letter of recommendation or reference letter from clients, people that you must have done your businesses with. And they able to say, okay, yes, this person is the manager and the owner and the executed business and blah, 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 stuff like that. Self-employment, yeah. Not just, sometimes when it is like that, they want to say, okay, why are you not immigrating under the entrepreneurial stream? Yeah, instead of the express entry stream. But people like bakers, tailors, fashion designers, which other one again? Stylists, all those ones, they can, but you need lots of references from clients to back up your skill.
Okay. I was going to ask a question I saw. Okay, somebody said, what if you get a job offer that is not your knock code? Like you've created your express entry profile and you've claimed a particular job. Meanwhile, you got another job that is not that's knock code. So can you still include it in that your express entry and it flies?
Yes, of course you have to include it, because like I said, the law says whatever work experience you must have had either in knock 0A or B within the last 10 years. So you could have your primary knock code and then you have another job offer that is not related to what you're doing. That's fine. It shouldn't be the current occupation. It should be something that is always in demand within the last 10 years.
Okay. Someone says, can you talk on the mistakes with proof of fund? Like, what are the common mistakes people make when it comes to proof of fund?
Okay, so for that proof of funds one, bulk money. You don't have the money, somebody's borrowing you the money, and then you just put bulk money into your account within the
You dump the money there.
within the last 6 months. That one is a flag, especially if the money is coming from somewhere and you do not put any letter of explanation or there is no gift deed that accompanies the money. That means it's a red flag for the visa officers. Even if there's a gift deed, who is the gift deed coming from? Is it coming from a friend or is it coming from your mother or your father? Normally, what is acceptable? Not that what's normally ideally what they would really overlook is if the gift deed is coming from a parent. But if it's coming from a sibling, there's every room for suspicion that this person must have borrowed the money. So if bulk money just hits your account within 6 months of you getting your ITA, the flag it, that one is sure. Because I've read several GCMS notes where they flagged bulk proof of funds, and then they told review officer to like review it. So you don't want bulk proof of funds to hit your account. If it's going to hit your account, it should come from your parents, or it should come from maybe another of your accounts, which of course
or maybe you sold something.
Oh yeah, if you sold something, you should also provide, okay, I had this vehicle. You have to put the documents of the vehicle, a copy of the documents of the vehicle, and this vehicle was sold for this value. It was sold to so, and the money came from so. So it should be shown in your account that, okay, this money is based on the fact that you sold your vehicle, and that's how you got your proof of funds. Anything that is not explained in terms of the proof of funds that is bulk money, they flag it. And once they flag it, they want to probe deeper. And then some people go as far as using fake bank statements, which is wrong. I don't know why people think that they can get away with certain things. Somebody did that and the person's application was denied. And this person had done medicals and all that and all of that. And was using a fake bank statement. I don't know what arrangement the person made. So you shouldn't be doing fake things. That would jeopardize your application. Another thing is, if the money is going to come from your friends, tell them not to. Anyway, money from friends should not be so big, like big. If it's maybe 100,000 naira, that one is acceptable. 200,000 naira is acceptable. 5 million from a friend. it's somehow
suspicious.
It's suspicious. So you wouldn't want to go through all that part of wanting to explain how 5 million entered your account, and then they are looking at your salary. Your salary is just 50,000 naira. Yeah, so all those things, they're like, okay, how did you get 5 million when your salary is 50,000 naira? So if it's coming from the parents, if it is your sibling that wants to send the money, tell your sibling to send the money to your parents and the parents transfer it to you. That was rather than coming directly from a friend or borrow the money and then it is flagged. So those are the issues. Some people also they don't know that they can use 25% of their pension as part of the proof of funds. It's just for them to get a statement that 25% of the pension is part of the proof of funds, and that can be accepted.
Some people that have investments, can they use it, like people who have money in fixed accounts and stuff?
Yes, fixed deposits is acceptable, treasury bill is acceptable, mutual is acceptable. What else? But property is not acceptable, except you say you sold the property, but then you need to show proof that you had the property in your name before you sold it. They know that people don't really sell properties. They know that people don't really sell. If you say you sold your car, yes, but you sold a land or a house.
And if you have in mind to sell a land or a house, why don't you sell it? So as you've created your experience entry profile, sell it already and put the money there, or even before you create.
You want them to sell their land? They cannot sell. People cannot sell. No, they shouldn't sell their land when they are not sure of the whole thing that's going through. So
That's true. That's
So
true.
that one is just, they know that people cannot sell. When it comes to saying, "Oh, I sold my land," they know that people cannot sell except the person has multiple land and just sold maybe one plot. If it has maybe 1 acre and then sold one plot out of the 1 acre, then yes. But you don't have enough money. Your salary income, your income is showing that you're earning 50,000 naira, and then you come to say, okay, you sold the land of 2 million or 3 million. The person's brain is calculating that how did the person get money to buy a land of 2 million or 3 million, or was the land inherited or something like that?
So somebody's saying that so she and her husband can use 25% each of their pension as part of
Yes,
this fund.
yes, 25% each of their pension is acceptable because it's something that if you stop working today in Nigeria, according to the Nigerian Pension Act, you can access 25% of your pension funds. So one is
When your parents gift you money, do they have to attach a letter to say that yes, they gifted
of
you the
course
money?
they have to write a letter. That's the deed itself. Okay. Another thing is the day the money enters your account must also be the day that you see that they will write the gift deed. It should not be a day after or a day before. The dates must align. If it's a date before, it will be flagged. If it's a date after, it will be flagged. Why is because of the number of GCMS notes I have read. So once you read a lot of things, you know what the visa officers are looking out for, right? So if anybody's going to give you money, if the parent is going to give the person money and the person is going to write a gift deed, it must be the day the money is entering the account that's when they should write the gift deed on that same day, not a day before and not a day after. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm looking out for questions. So if you guys have any questions, you can just shoot them on the question box. Somebody saying, can retired parents give gift deed? Like say that your parents are retired.
Yes, of course, they know that your parents must have built wealth over the years. And if they are retired, they know that your parents must have built wealth over the years and they must have had assets, they must have had lots of things. You know, parents have money, so sometimes, although not all parents do.
But they would not even question where the parents are getting the money from.
Yeah,
they won't question so that's so if your friends have money to give you, send it to your parents' account and then your parents will give it to you. I think that's safe.
I don't want to say that. Let us not say it is
okay, we don't.
I did say that. That's a tip from Joy, but not from me.
Guys, you people should just be safe. Just be safe. Okay, somebody says their corporate savings from the office as proof of fund.
Yes, if it is in your name, there are some organizations that have all this cooperative and all.
Yes.
So as long as it is in your name, you're showing your pay slip is showing contribution to the co-op, then it's fine because you also have to provide 6 months pay slip and 6 months bank statement. So it's fine as long as it is in your name. It is not in the major co-op name. You need to show that you've been contributing to the co-op. Then it's fine. That's an acceptable proof of funds as well.
I think my network is hanging.
Yeah, I observed that, but it's fine now. So we can still, yeah.
You know why I'm spending time on this? Have proof of fund, but you don't know because in their mind they feel like, oh, we can't use this. Like you said, 25% of pension. So a lot of people say, oh, you can't use pension, you can't use fixed deposit, you can't use investment and all that. But here you are saying,
no, they can use
for fund.
They can use fixed deposits, mutual funds, any fund that is easily liquidated. But for Bitcoin, I don't know whether Bitcoin is acceptable. Somebody asked me that question, whether they can accept Bitcoin as proof of funds.
But can they, how would they accept it? No.
I don't know. If they can convert their Bitcoin to Naira, then that should be acceptable, or dollar, anyone. But I don't think Bitcoin is one of the investments or whatever that's acceptable. In terms of stocks, stocks also fluctuate. So for stocks, it fluctuates. I'm not sure for stocks. So let me not say what I'm not sure of. I would have said stocks, but stocks fluctuate. So
because those things are they are very volatile, right? They are not, you're not set. You can say, okay, you want to use your Bitcoin. The day you submitted the proof of fund, in 1 week time, the Bitcoin has dropped. So you go and
yeah.
So it should be something more tangible, right?
Mm-hmm.
So somebody says, can they have 2 different express entry profile, and each of them are accompanying each other in each of the profiles? So a husband and wife, my husband is accompanying me, and then the wife has another one, my husband is accompanying me.
Yes, it is acceptable. Of course, because if the husband's knock code is in an area that is not in demand, or the wife's knock code, whoever gets an ITA first, then they can close the other one. They can have 2 express entry profiles in a family, not just one. Somebody got himself shot on the foot for not creating an express entry profile during this last Canadian experience class. He felt he didn't have enough points, that the wife had enough points, and the wife opened an express entry profile. And meanwhile, he was eligible for Canadian experience class and he didn't create a profile. So when they were giving these 27,000 people, he lost out on it because he didn't create a profile. So it's good for both husband and wife to create separate express entry profiles so that they can maximize the opportunities and options available rather than leaving it to one person to handle. In most cases,
go ahead.
No, in most cases, people lose out on this opportunity for just saying, oh, okay, is it compulsory for my wife or my husband to write IELTS and evaluate their credentials? When I see such questions, I say, okay, you don't want to maximize your options. It's good to maximize all of your options and not leaving it for one person, because the rules keep changing, everything keeps changing all the time, and you don't want to be kind of left out, just leaving only one person to handle it, especially if the other person has an opportunity to go through the express entry or get a provincial nomination. So both husband and wife, create your expression of interest, even if it's for Saskatchewan, go ahead and create your separate profile. For express entry, go ahead and create a separate profile and see who is going to bring the ITA, who is going to get it.
Who's going to bring the gold home?
So anyone who gets it first, then the person becomes the principal applicant. So, yeah.
So someone is saying that as a principal applicant, she's married, can she still get money from her parents? Like she's married already. So can she still?
Yes.
So it doesn't matter whether you're married or not.
Yes, you can get money from your parents. If your parents are the ones going to give you the proof of funds, then it's not a problem.
In fact, let me even hammer on the most. I think this is the biggest mistake that people make with this 27,000 invitation that were issued to 75. I think the biggest mistake people make is failing to create their express entry profile. They feel like, oh, IELTS, I need 0.05 mark. Let me wait when I've written it and got. Meanwhile, they are eligible. They've not tried to create and it has said you're not eligible. So why don't you just create and be there? Be there while you're now figuring out, because with this thing that happened with the anything, in fact, I was telling my husband, me as a student, I'm going to be people. Maybe they will say,
you should be in the pool because you already have experience from your home country.
Yes. So I'm expecting anything.
For instance, if you've had like 3 years or 4 years work experience back in your home country before you came to Canada as a student, there is nothing stopping you from creating a profile. Even seeking for provincial nomination, there's nothing stopping you from doing that. If you know that you'll be eligible in Saskatchewan and you're in New Brunswick or Ontario, go ahead and create your profile for Saskatchewan provincial nomination. You don't know whether you're going to get it, as a student. So there's no point limiting yourself by not creating a profile, waiting to finish your education first.
A lot of students in Canada, because when I came in, I was telling myself, why should I go through the Federal Skilled Workers Program because I'm eligible? But I was scared. Are you sure they won't say, oh, I came into Canada, I said I was going to go back, that I'm scared? Or maybe they would say, now you want to stay. So I know a lot of students think like that. It was recently I knew that, oh, I could actually, go for the Federal Skilled Workers Program.
Yeah, you can go. Anybody who is a student that must have had an experience before coming as a student should be able to create a profile. Should be able to take advantage of creating the profile, and if it's possible to get your PR before you even complete your education, you should be doing that. rather than waiting to complete your education to claim the points for
Yeah.
education.
And
Because
you even pay lesser fee as a PR, as a
yeah,
permanent resident. Your fee is less.
exactly. Yeah.
So if
So
you just get your study visa and land in Canada and you're eligible for the express entry, go ahead. Even if some people are already in the pool before coming anyway. So
well, being in the pool before coming, that is another issue. They call it dual intent.
okay.
Because the visa officers are looking at, they'll pull up your information if you already created an express entry profile and then you're applying for study permits. It's a red flag.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey,
Because
you guys should be hearing, I didn't know this one.
yeah, it's called dual
Okay.
intent. Yeah. So except you have the ability to show to the visa officers that no matter what, you're going to still return. You have all what it takes to return back to your home country, then it's fine. You can leave your express entry profile. But they will, even if you deactivate your EE profile, they still have access because you've
Oh my
already
goodness.
left a digital footprint. Yeah.
So yeah, because they are seeing your intention of coming in as a permanent resident, and you're saying again you want to go study, and
Yeah.
especially if that course you're going for doesn't make sense to them, they'll just conclude that this one is just looking for exit route to come into Canada. Okay, thank you so much, Olo. This one says concerning the dates on the gift deed. Which dates do I use if the money was sent to me on 2 different days before it was completed?
Okay, on 2 different dates. That means you should be the first date. In fact, you have to receive 2 gift deeds. So the first deed was sent to you. I
Yes.
get so and so money or so day. Then the second part of the money should also have another gift deed. I'm giving you another money. So.
That makes sense.
Not one covering the two. So for each amount, it has to have its own separate gift deed.
Somebody said they use a different code in an express entry profile that has expired. So now they want to create another express entry profile. Can they use a different code, not code?
Yes, they can use a different NOC code. Like I said, you must have had work experience within the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So say you worked as an admin 9 years ago, you evolved from an admin to supply chain 8 years ago. Supply chain, you decided, okay, you want to switch careers to business analysis 7 years ago. And then business analysis to human resources 6 years ago. Human resources, you say you want to be a medical doctor 5 years ago. You have all this experience, as long as you must have had them within 1 year. If they have 1 year work experience within the last 10 years, you can switch as many NOC as you can, because admin NOC is different from HR NOC, from supply chain NOC, from medical doctor NOC. So if your profile expired, you have to look at your experiences within the last 10 years. Which NOC do you have, or would you want to switch to? Then if you decide, okay, human resources, they are pulling up human resources, or Ontario is giving provincial nomination to people with human resources NOC code, and I had human resources experience 6 years ago. Then you can use the HR NOC code. As long as the experience was for 1 year. If it is more than 1 year, fine. If it is less than 1 year, it's not possible. But 1 year within the last 10 years, then it's fine.
Okay, let me show this question. Can you see it from your end?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so she says, I'm the principal applicant, but using my husband's account. He does a lot of business, but doesn't have a registered business name. Would that be an issue?
Yeah, it's likely going to be an issue. There should be, at least, because if you want to claim him as a self-employed person, at least you should have a registration. His business should be registered.
Okay, and okay, I'm not going to ask this kind of question. For this type of questions, people asking all this type of questions, go and calculate your CRS score. Go and use the CRS tool and calculate your CRS score, then you will know your chances. This one says, can I apply to be for PR rates? So I'm just shooting the question.
Academic IELTS has nothing to do with immigration. If you're immigrating, you have to do general IELTS. If you're coming to Canada to study, that's when you can do academic IELTS, because some schools are requesting for that. Even if you are from an English-speaking country. Some schools request for academic IELTS.
Someone says he has applied for studies 2 years but didn't get it. So now they want to change their mind and come in via express entry.
No, it has no issue. Where it has an issue is when you have an express entry profile and then you apply for study permits. But this one, you applied 2 years ago, you were denied, it has no issue, it has no relationship with applying or creating an express entry profile. Even if you've been denied study permit 3 times, you can still go ahead and create an express entry profile. You can still get your PR. It doesn't matter as long as your information is consistent. Another thing I also want to mention is some people's information are not consistent at all. And visa officers, they pull these things, the information sharing aspect of the background search, they pull this information. So let's say somebody applied to the US and said, during the application, he said I was a customer service personnel with the same company. And then now he's applying for PR and he's saying he's a business analyst with the same company and he's not showing the proof of progression from being a customer service to a business analyst. All those things, they either trigger more review. And once it is reviewed, they will also go and pull up your information from where you must have applied to before. So you have to be careful with your information. It has to be consistent. And if your information is not consistent, it's going to cause problems.
So it's better for someone to be straightforward. I mean, if you're not lying, there's no how your information will be inconsistent, right? But if you start to put a lot of fake things in the picture, you even be confused. You yourself, because you don't know which information you've given and which one you've not given.
Exactly. Yes, it can count as work experience. It can.
Yeah, Ola has answered this question before. Maybe the person came late. You can watch this video again, but yeah.
Yes, please watch the video again and subscribe to Mrs. O's chat room. Very important. If you are coming from my channel, very important. Subscribe to her. I'm trying to push a lot of people to go and somehow.
Thank you. Somebody says we know you as the French queen. You should tell us how long it takes to learn French.
Well, like I say, it depends on your personal commitment. I tell people all the time, depends on your personal commitment. Some people are highly, highly committed, while some are taking their time in learning French. For someone who is highly committed and you're spending 4 hours a day of your own extra personal time, there's a possibility of learning French and sitting for the TEF exam after learning French for 6 months or 5 months. Depends on your own personal commitment.
Oh wait, so you didn't know you didn't know like zero French, and now you know how to speak French.
No, actually, did French for my first degree. That's the
I think
French. Yeah, I did French for my first degree. Yeah.
I was like, how did you even go from zero to?
I did French for my first degree, so that's all. Yeah.
And you know how to speak, but did you use it when you were coming to Canada? Like the French thing.
Well, I use it now. I use it for my work, but
like, did you include that you were bilingual when you were doing your express entry?
No. As I didn't come with express entry. We were the last of people that did paper application. Yes, before the introduction of express entry. So it was my master's from Unilag that I used, but my first degree, they didn't evaluate it. Of course, when you evaluate, you evaluate your highest degree. I evaluated my master's, and that was it. If I was evaluating my first degree, I don't think I'll be in Canada today because that school is error.
Oh my goodness!
Error. They are very responding. So yeah.
Okay, so this person is saying,
if I apply for study permit claiming I'll go back to my country, but my husband has an EE profile, will they know? No, they won't know. They won't know because people can bear the same last name and they are not related. Except.
Or how about the age?
No, they would know. They would know. This is how they would know because you have to put your family member's name.
Yeah, and even their date of birth.
Yeah, and their date of birth, they would know.
See, I think all these things really play. I wouldn't say it's not in their law. Like, it's not in their law to say, okay, because your husband is doing this. But all those things, because they use their discretion to judge all these things. So I think all these things, to an extent, play small, small roles. Or what do you think?
Well, it's because of there's something called dual intent, which is in the immigration regulation. The dual intent aspect of it is there. And the dual intent is something that they would weigh your ability to return back to your country and see if
The way I see this, the way I see this now, if this lady has applied for study permit saying, I'm coming to study alone, my husband is still in my home country, and I will return back to him after my study. Meanwhile, your husband has an active express entry profile.
They are not assessing her based on her husband now. They are assessing her based on her own application. If she has the ability to return.
Okay.
Right? If she has the ability to return. If she has the ability to return, that's when they would give her the study permit. But if she does not have the ability to return, they will not give her the study permit. Like for study permits, even if you do everything right, there's always that clause that is at the discretion of the visa officer. Yeah. That clause. So at the end of the day, you can have all your documents 100% complete, and the person who is looking at it is just it's their spirit. I don't know whether they use their spirit.
They're in a bad mood.
Let's not allow this person, So sometimes they follow the law, but at that clause of at the discretion of the visa officer is always a factor there. So yeah.
Okay. So I can't remember the last question. Well, you can see the questions from your end, right?
Yeah, I can see the questions. Okay, so
if there's anyone you want to take, you can take it because.
Okay, so Sylvia Dama is saying, I use only my recent NOC to fill out my 10 years work experience in the EE. I have personal experience in the NOC back in the years, but nothing official. Is it a flag off? 10 years. Okay, so the question is it the same company you've been working in, or you've had the same experience but in different organizations? And if it is nothing official, when you say nothing official, is it that you just started working, they told you, okay, come and start working by phone, and they are not paying you salary, there's no document, there's no proof to show that you had that work experience, because you need to provide that work experience. If the current organization you are working in is just for the past 6 years, and then the last 10 years, you don't have any information, it will be a flag, it will be a red flag. So you have to provide information concerning the other number of years, and you have to provide a reference letter as well. So try to make it official, try to contact the people you've worked with and make it official. No matter what, try to make it official, because anything that is unofficial, like people claiming, oh, they were paying me in cash. It's once visa sees payment in cash, it's always a red flag, especially when the company does not have an online presence. There's no social media presence, nothing to show that the company exists. And you say the company was paying you cash and you were so, or you were working as a supervisor in the company. There are organizations like that, but try as much as possible to contact these organizations and make it official. And if it's possible, convince the organizations to have a social media presence or an online presence, because they will always want to go back to search online and see, okay, you say you work in this company. Let me see if this company they have a website. If they have a website, of course, they are supposed to, the website is supposed to be on the official letterhead. And then they'll use the website and search online. Is the company in existence? They look at the website, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what's the company doing? But if nothing like that exists, you have to talk to the company to start regularizing and becoming, just tell that, social media is bringing more business, bringing more company, you have to be on social media, blah, 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 blah. And convince them, let them be on social media or let them be online. I know creating websites might be expensive, but it's good for them to be online. If they are online, it's good, then you have enough, you don't have any reason to be worried. But if they are not online, it's very difficult to convince the visa officers that such a company exists. Except you want to provide the company's CAC documents. And of course, not every organization will want to release their CAC documents. I have seen cases where they asked applicants to provide the CAC documents of the the businesses that they say they worked for, especially those who say they were paid in cash. So if you're going to claim that you were paid in cash, you should be able to see if the business you worked for has a registered company with the CAC and if they've been paying taxes and all that, for them to provide their documents as a backup, just in case. And in some cases, they won't even ask you to provide such document. They will just put it as a red flag and then make your application ineligible.
Okay, I'm just showing this question very fast because I know the answer is no. Just so that.
No, education evaluation. Will general IELTS fly for study permit application? Yes, depends. If you're applying from Nigeria for the Nigerian Student Express, yes. They didn't specify whether people should do academics or general. So you can go ahead and use general. No, I will always say that, okay, you want to apply with your children. How would you cope? Are your children below 5? If they are below 5, do you have the funds to put them in daycare? And of course, you know daycare is expensive. Do you have the money to put them in daycare? How would you cope with your academics? Even as an individual, going to school alone is very difficult. It's very tough. Not to talk of having children that you have to take care of, you have to feed, you have to, put them in school, you have to put them in daycare. How do you cope? So coming with your children, if your children are above certain age, let's say they are already independent, let's say they are from the least child is 7 years or 8 years old. Yes, and then maybe your first child, let's say your first child is 12 years or 13 years old, then I would say yes. But of course, you have to show, apart from coming with your children, you have to show enough ties that the visa officer will be convinced that you're not trying to immigrate.
I wasn't going to shoot out that question because it was for study permit. This is for express entry. Somebody says, how do we calculate proof of fund?
So for proof of fund, use Owanda or XE. Owanda.com or XE, use the currency converter, not the black market rate.
Okay.
Or you use the Bank of Canada rate, but Bank of Canada does not have they don't. If you go to their website, you will not see exchange with Nigerian naira. You won't see it. But you use Owanda and then print Owanda as well. So let's say you want to submit your express entry profile, and the money in your account is 3 million. I'm using 3 million as an example, and you want to submit today. Your Owanda printout must be on that same day because that's the day that will be locked in by the time you submit. You should not be printing when the exchange rate was let's say an amount lower. Let's say 2 weeks ago, the exchange rate was $250 naira to $1 Canadian. And you're submitting your application 2 weeks later, and the exchange rate is now 500 naira to $1 Canadian. That means your money is not complete.
Yeah.
So on the day of your submission, that is the day you print out the foreign currency converter that's using Owanda or XE.
Okay. Well, I said I wasn't going to take more than 1 hour. This is already more than 1 hour. You are asking the kind of questions I'm even seeing. Somebody said, is it possible to write to IELTS, academic, and if you want to write to them, write it. It does not affect IRCC. Which other? Somebody says after having we're not taking questions on study permits. Sorry. We're just looking at those express entry and mistakes people make. If you're confused about anything in the express entry, I'm going to wrap up now. So if you have any questions regarding express entry, we've talked about NOC codes, we talked about proof of fund, we talked about accompanying and non-accompanying spouse. I think those are the areas that a lot of people make mistakes in. And we also talked about the fact that so long as you're eligible, you have to create your express entry profile because you don't know what would happen tomorrow. IRCC might wake up and say, okay, federal skilled worker, 300.
Let's invite everybody in the pool at once.
Because this 75 they did, Before I used to say never that I can never get to 300, but with this 75 they did from 4 something.
Yeah.
Nothing is impossible. See, just be okay. Somebody is saying I wrote IELTS. Let me just. I think this will be the last question I'll take for today.
Yes, ask for a remark for your writing.
Yeah.
For a remark. You have a very fantastic score to ask for a remark for writing. I don't know why. I don't know whether it's Nigeria that does, and Nigeria IELTS, whether they are deliberately giving people 6.5 for writing. You see somebody getting a 9 in listening and listening to other factors, and then they'll just deliberately not give somebody's.
Yeah. Why do I feel like this particular one is deliberate?
They do it just for a remark. They are looking for money. At a point, I said, these guys, they are milking Nigerians.
Do you know the amount of money they make from these things? Anyway,
they are milking Nigerians, seriously.
Okay, we not talked about this early. Maybe the person came in late.
You don't have pay slips. Well, you should have, at least you should be able. See, self-employed people, you should start paying yourself salaries. You separate your business from yourself. Separate it, even if you're self-employed. Separate your business from yourself and let your business pay you salaries. This idea of not having pay slips and having your business income mixed with your own personal income is going to complicate things. Well, maybe I'm thinking from the Canadian angle. It's best to have a separate bank account where you have your business account name, your business account name bearing the same business account, and then you start paying yourself a salary. Separate the business from yourself and start paying let the business start paying you salaries.
Okay, I think this is the last question I'll take for today, guys. Most of the questions you people are asking, Wole has already touched it in the beginning of the video. So if you're late, just go back and replay and watch it. So do you have any final, advice for people who are looking at the express entry, especially what is happening? The fact that there've not been any draws since the beginning of this year, we don't know. And even people who have gotten their applications approved, they've not been able to get, PRs and all those things.
Well, like, before I used to monitor trends. I'll monitor trends and I'll be able to predict, okay, what's going to happen next, But since that CEC draw, it's been like, you can't even predict what's going to happen next. So get into the pool. I would say anybody that wants to get into the pool, get into the pool. And while in the pool, if your scores are low, try to start improving on your scores. If your IELTS scores are not high enough, then you need to rewrite your IELTS. If you know that you need French, especially for those who are matured and they feel that the only way to really break that barrier and get above or get the very good scores, then start learning French. Nobody needs to tell you to start doing all these things, because if you're waiting for when the magic is going to happen, nobody knows. Like I said, nobody knows. Who knows if IRCC will come tomorrow and say, you know what, the whole 150 something thousand in the pool, we are giving people ITA.
Yeah, like the thing, I'm still shocked up to today.
In order for us to meet our 401,000 targets, okay, we are giving the 150,000 people in the pool ITA. So go ahead and let your husband create profile, let your wife create profile, everybody be in the pool, and let's see. But these days, creating a profile these days is there's been some glitches.
Yeah.
They've been trying to create profiles and then they're not getting their CRS scores immediately, and sometimes the express entry profile kicks them out. I even need to mention this. If you're changing your no code in your express entry profile, it will make your profile ineligible. That's number one. If your work experience is not up to 1 year in maybe one of your work experiences, it will make your profile ineligible.
Okay.
If you don't put in enough proof of funds, it will make your profile ineligible. If you have low scores and you are, let's say, above 35, if your scores are not on a band 8, you cannot create a profile. Yes.
And I got someone who submitted a profile, but he came back to him and says he's ineligible, that he scored 0. He scored 0. So maybe it was one of those things that happened to him.
Yeah. So a lot of the profile EE platform is actually having some glitches, and it's making people they are not able to create profile.
Do you think they are doing some upgrades?
Yeah.
Do you think they are doing some upgrades in the system that is causing all this?
Well, yes, they've been doing some upgrades generally. Apart from that, most of the government organizations have actually been doing upgrades on their systems. So that's what is affecting profile creation. So
Yeah. I even get people who want to pay for their study visa applications and they are saying, oh, they've tried Nigerian cards, they've tried Canadian card, but it's not just going. And I'm like, maybe it's just a glitch in the system. So you can try again.
Mm.
Okay, so last final question. She says,
No, don't withdraw your profile. No, leave it. When they remark, you upgrade your scores. But of course, like I said, if you're making any change in your profile, it will make it ineligible. So wait until you get your scores back and then create a profile again.
So basically, when people are creating profiles again, do they delete the one they have and then start a new one?
No, they are not deleting.
So they just edit.
If they make an update on their profile, let's say they have a good IELTS score now and they want to update their profile, the system kicks the application out, so they have to fill the information all over again.
Oh, okay.
So that's the EE profile number becomes inactive. They have to create another one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, that's what happened. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. In your busy schedule, you've made it to this place. Thank you so much. So if you're late, just go back and replay the video. So some people were asking about your contact.
My contact,
yeah. So Olo is a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. To me, I would say the first step when you want to start your journey, whether students or whatever, is to consult someone. Even know that because you can hear what Wolu says. If you have an express entry profile and you're going ahead to go and apply for study visa, dual intent might affect you. We don't know if it's positive or negative. So you have to talk to someone before you make a move. Because when you make the mistake already, there's nothing anybody can do. So in as much as there are a lot of informations out there, I think you should still talk to a professional, right? So you can talk to Wolo. Her Instagram handle is Canada Info Hub, right? Canada Info Hub, HUB. So from there, you can send a DM. Her website is on her Instagram page. And I'm going to edit this post and put out Wolo's handle for anybody that wants to contact a regulated Canadian immigration consultant for your express entry, study visas, whatever it is. Whatever it is. Wolo is the professional.
I'm trying.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mrs. O, for inviting me. It's really an exciting time.
Okay, so I will be calling it a wrap for today.
Yeah, so.
All right. Have a nice day, Wolo.
Thank you, and have a beautiful weekend.
All right. Okay, bye, guys. Bye, everyone. I'm ending the broadcast now.
Bye.